Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
This message is brought to you by the rebrand of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This publication may not be reposted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. NASCAR Camping World Ford F-150. NASCAR Xfinity Ford Mustang. NASCAR Cup Series Next-Gen Ford Mustang. Arca Menards. This has been the publication of the redesign and rebranding of Throttle Graphics and Designs. This message may not be reposted, republicated, or rebroadcasted without the authorized written consent of Throttle Graphics and Designs. Thank you, and thanks for your time.
For the 10th race of the IORA Cup Series season, the next-gen stock cars make their way to Road America in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Pacing currently with Daniel Mosteller, the top man on the board. 9 laps in at a 25 as we get things going here. Looks like some cautions early have kept us under yellow, but hoping now to get a green flag run as 9 drivers remain on the circuit. Mosteller leads James Thurston, Chase Schaefer, and Sean Conklin as it stands, and the field flies by one of the largest tracks on the IORA schedule with Demos currently advantageous. Great to have y'all watching here as we head back to the twists and turns. We've seen several great races so far in road courses and IORA as well, most recently at Watkins Glen where Sean Conklin came home with a victory. Tonight though, we're going to a track not often seen in stock car racing. Road America did make its one and only Cup Series appearance just 2 years ago. However, no plans to return at this time. Great to have y'all watching live again on FTN. I'll be your host for tonight's broadcast, David Troitz, commentating and producing. So it's going to be a fantastic night of action from here on out. Mosteller currently has that lead as we mentioned. However, that's not guaranteed for the remainder of this race. Going to see ups and downs and twists and turns as we mentioned, not only in elevation and the track layout, but in addition, many strong competitors here at these road circuits. Mosteller, Thurston, the only 2 drivers in IORA history so far to come home with the Cup Series championship. They're up in front right now, first and second respectively, and Chase Schaefer holds his own. Then in third, going to be Sean Conklin 4th. Now it's going to be Henry Caloff 5th, and River Page is going to be in the 6th spot with Brandon Dugan 7th, Michael Deitch 8th, and Ben Braxton Whitaker position number 9. That's how they roll right now when it comes to our overall lineup. John Smith also registered for this event, but is no longer on the track. So not the count of cars we're all too used to in the IORA Cup Series, but with the road course, sometimes we see a downslide in terms of attendance. So hopefully that's going to be a rebound for the final few races of the tour. But tonight, smaller field on a bigger track. Get ready to see some dispersed racing. A lot of drivers spreading themselves out as the night progresses. That's a norm here when it comes to Road America, and we'll see who really has the pace and who doesn't when the green flag drops once again indeed. The Elkhart Lake 125 lap showdown, now 17 laps remaining, and the iRacing official pace car leads the field this time by. Looks like every driver already going to be on their way, and they're going to be all behind on a pace car right now, so we'll see whether or not this will be a shortened yellow as the field now wrapped up in a bundle. All of our 9 drivers separate by only about a second and a half now, as you'll see, barreling down the straightaways here in Wisconsin. Field is set in motion. Daniel Mosteller's got the edge. Then you're going to see James Thurston, Chase Schaefer, Sean Conklin, and in addition, then it's going to be Henry Kaloff and River Page too. So with these drivers bundling up for the first time tonight, of course, we're seeing some trouble early. It's going to be an opportunity to get back on the way and maybe make some moves on championship rivals here. And given the small field size, anything outside the top 5 or a podium might just be make or break in the championship standings. Right now, Sean Conklin, who's been dominant all season long, runs in the 4th position, won most recently at a road course, and they'll all come down to pit road, led by Mosteller. Pit road going to get busy as they climb the hill to pit entry. Demos is in. He'll bring James Thurston, Chase Schaefer as well, and also you're going to see Sean Conklin and Henry Kaloff coming through. River Page, Brandon Dugan, Michael Deitch, and Braxton Whitaker all coming as one as a caution is going to fly with 17 laps to go, coming out of only 16, and that's how they roll. So far, so good. Going to be a Chevy Camaro leading over 3 Mustangs, and pit road now going to get busy. No driver opting to stay on track. Everyone makes it down in this time by, and now time to see who makes it out of pit road the quickest as pit lane busy, and you're going to see Sean Conklin's got that pole stall, and Demos is going to get the jump, so it'll be Mosteller leading from Sean Conklin, and Chase Schaefer immediately thereafter. Then from there, you'll see Brandon Dugan getting on the way, Braxton Whitaker going to be 5th, and Henry Kaloff going to be in the 6th spot, with James Thurston coming through then in 7th. River Page is going to also be on pit road, but he looks like he's not left it yet. Michael Deitch, more of the same. So 10 laps in at a 25, they'll get things going with Daniel Mosteller, the leader still after a pit cycle. And now it's going to be 1 lap to green this time by, so we're going to have a shortened caution to ensure we can get back to the racing quicker than usual. In iRacing, multiple pace laps are given. As it stands, though, it looks like it's going to be shortened to only 1. 16 laps to go, and you'll see now it's Demos and his championship rival, Sean Conklin, right behind him. The Ryco Performance number 54 machine has won almost half the races so far this season. If he was to win tonight, it would maintain the 50% ratio of wins to losses, and that goes to show how dominant Sean Conklin has been. 4 wins already to Daniel Mosteller's 2. However, right now, Demos could be holding the keys for his 3rd victory, which could turn the table in terms of the championship standing. 9 drivers still going to be on the lead lap as it stands. As we get things going here with 16 laps to go, the Demos hub number 87 holds the keys to the lead, the race victory, and potentially after night might just have the championship lead as the pace car comes through this time by for 1 more lap. Hopefully we'll get ourselves a long green flag run to finish off this event here, as slowly but surely time is running out and we'll be set to have just about 15 laps to go. Right now, with the field all bundled up here, the iRacing official pace car set to let him loose. Fastest lap so far on the night, ran by Daniel Mosteller. It was a 2-minute 11.327. Not a lot of drivers in that same range. Sean Conklin's best lap is about 1 second slower. We know Conklin is a quick driver at these road courses, so he hasn't really been given much a shot to advance his position. And in addition to that, he's used a fast repair. The only driver on the track right now that's used his one and only fast repair is Sean Conklin, so he's at a disadvantage in terms of strategy there because he's already burnt up his second chance. So a push comes to shove and he gets involved in any real trouble, well, he knows he's got to be much more careful than anyone else in the field no matter what. Henry Kaloff going to be right beside him this time by. James Thurston is also going to swoop into the picture and rub doors with Chase Schaefer, and it looks like already some troubles brewing there as Michael Deitch pulls into the scene as well. And River Page, 9th and last right now, hoping to get a clean lap in. His fastest recorded lap so far tonight looks to be at 3:45, 5:73, and we'll see whether or not that's an anomaly or just a matter of fact that River Page having some troubles early in the going. 10 laps in, and this time by, we're set to get back at it to keep things moving. It'll be a 15-lap run from this point onward, and with only 9 drivers remaining, it's expected to have a bit of a green flag hint to it as the iRacing official pace car drops down to pit road. Here we go again with Mosteller the lead and Braxton Whitaker not too far behind. They're side by side coming up the hill in Elkhart Lake. Green flags out, led by Daniel Mosteller. And early in the going, Daniel Mosteller breaks out to another lead. He's got Sean Conklin right behind him even still. And the top three going to be included with Chase Schaefer's number 99 still running inside the podium. Green flag is indeed out, and that's confirmation we made it this far. We should not be seeing a quick caution as Brandon Dugan fights side by side with Henry Kaloff. Kaloff is faded back now to the 8th position after starting this run in the 4th spot. Not at all where he'd like to be. He's got the inside line though, and that advantage with the camber is going to come into place. And it might be to the benefit of Kaloff and to the dismay of Brandon Dugan. But Dugan's got enough momentum to make it work. And just like that, Brandon Dugan makes things happen, takes away a spot. And that's the rough and tough nature of racing here in Road America. Daniel Mosteller leads the way either way indeed. And it'll be Sean Conklin still in second. Conklin's got a lot of pressure now from Chase Schaefer though, looking on the back bumper. And you'll see that number 99 not playing around. He's got 1 win so far this season. And in the grass, Sean Conklin's going to go, and you'll see now Schaefer looking for any opportunity. He's going to barrel in, and just like that, nothing to the side of Sean Conklin. It looks like the position has already been taken, and Schaefer's going to move up to second, and he does so quick enough to leave a gap right behind. That's a 2-minute 12.199 for the driver, the number 99. Chase Schaefer is going to get that jump and run away with it. 14 laps to go. Daniel Mosteller still leads, but Chase Schaefer now going to be the man who's chasing him down as we get things started once again. He's going to weave and bob down to the bottom, and now Sean Conklin gets that opportunity to come right back, and that's the nature of racing in a road course for a stock car. You can lose a second at a time, but if someone else makes a mistake, you'll get that opportunity to go right back and pounce when you can. 14 laps to go, and they'll barrel down under the Sargento Bridge. It's Daniel Mosteller leading, and Chase Schaefer in second as Michael Deitch opts to park it for the night. 8 drivers do still remain on the track though. Henry Kaloff last of which as Schaefer goes way wide and nearly into the sand trap. Chase Schaefer's going to lose it, not only in spots, but in control. And just like that, he'll fade back into 5th as Thurston and Conklin get away. It's been an up and down night for the number 99, and Chase Schaefer sees troubles once more as he'll fade back outside the podium and now find himself in 5th. Chase Schaefer going to be running way off the pace now with River Page in 4th, James Thurston in 3rd, and Sean Conklin then in 2nd. They're here under the Speedville Bridge, and it's going to be now our second tunnel into a wider area, and this is where it becomes a bit less narrow. You saw in the first few corners, very little room for error. There's the gravel traps and all, but you can brush up against the grass like River Page and Chase Schaefer have done and still come through quite nicely. Daniel Mosteller is going to take them through, but Sean Conklin's now in the back bumper as well. He was putting pressure down beforehand, and it looks like it's come back into play for the number 54. Conklin's now getting bumper to bumper and might be able to make a move here as keep Daniel Mosteller just a car length ahead. And now it's going to be a much more battling environment. Well, that's the quick way to say it, but it's a lot more than that. It's going to be a lot more aggression later in the race. New tires for most of these drivers allow for a lot more rough and tough racing, and Thurston's going to go way wide as they're side by side for the lead. At the stripe, Daniel Mosteller with a minute advantage and just barely gets that lap led, but Sean Conklin coming down low will have the advantage into 1, and that's all he's going to need to take that race lead, at least for the time being. Sean Conklin gets the advantage, and he's going to jump out of the top spot. Daniel Mosteller is still going to be in 2nd. It's a 1-2 battle, breaking away from the field as River Page has moved up now into 3rd, and inside the podium for the number 24 machine from the back of the field all the way up. River Page making time, and Daniel Mosteller losing it as Sean Conklin, his championship rival, now chases win number 5 on a season that's already been filled with highlight victories. From the first at Daytona to this point, he's won 4 races so far in 9 complete events, and if he wins his 5th in this 10th event of the season, it's going to show how much more control Conklin's had over anyone else in the field as James Thurston loses control that time by, and he's going to just barely keep it in front of Chase Schaefer. These mistakes have been very common from the drivers here as they've been saying this setup, which is identical to that of the stock set for iRacing, it's been troublesome to work with, and a lot of these drivers are expressing their frustrations as it looks like you can get loose real quick, not have enough power to get through the corners at the same time, and a litany of issues have left these drivers far from their peak in performance. Way high, Daniel Mosteller nearly gets up in the grass, and you'll see he has to back off it, then he has to wiggle it once or twice to keep the power down, and that's just not going to be acceptable for Mosteller as River Page is also coming to into play, and that time by Page running at the pace of your leader, only 1/1000th of a second slower than Sean Conklin, and now might even be gaining on Demos, which will bring him closer to the aforementioned number 54. Sean Conklin's got that lead 13 laps into this event already, and you'll see that number 54 Ryko machine driving, and he knows he's on edge. Mosteller is still there despite the setback, and he's using every inch of track to make something happen. Demos is going to lunge it in apex after apex. He's going very wide through the corners, nearly hitting the grass that time around, and after losing the race lead just a lap ago, Conklin's got it, and now he'll take him to the stripe with the advantage. Led lap there for Sean Conklin, the Ryko performance, number 54, now going to come down only 12 laps to go here in Road America, as Sean Conklin's got the advantage over the remainder of the field. Henry Kaloff is 8th right now. He's chasing down Brandon Dugan and Braxton Whitaker, and only 8 drivers remaining in a trouble-filled night already. First few laps filled with yellow flags, and now getting into a rhythm, as you'll see Braxton Whitaker and his teammate for TJ Hanley Designs racing each other. That's Brandon Dugan just behind. The 51 and 55 fight for spots in the back half of the field. Schaefer finds trouble, but he's still on James Thurston's back bumper, and these two drivers, while seeing a few mistakes, are still up there fighting for a top 5 finish. Right on board with Chase Schaefer right now, as you'll see your Atlanta winner looking to make that spot and take a lunge in on the number 4. And right now, Chase Schaefer going to stay on the back bumper of the number 4 machine. We'll keep watching on board. And you can see reeling it in, back in the gears, down lap after lap. It's going to be a game not only of keeping that line, but working with the gears. And right now for the Monster Designs number 99 crew, that's exactly what he's got to do, working it as high as the 5th gear in these next-gen stock cars, because unlike previous generations in NASCAR Cup Series competition, 4 is no longer the maximum. You can get up to 5, and with 12 laps to go, looks like Schaefer using each and every one of those gears. Telemetry will show you the story of all the drivers as we look around the entirety of the pack. 4th gear right now to total of 165 miles an hour. Backs it down a 2nd gear. Going to get it down all the way to about 60 miles an hour. Oh, so close to James Thurston there. And you'll see why, because Thurston's going to go a little wide once again, hit the gravel, and that gives Schaefer an opportunity to continue chasing him down. 110 miles an hour in the 4th position, and he's looking to stay right up on there. Looks like for the most part he's running that 2nd gear, but he'll have to crank it up here as they go up the hill once again. 3rd gear up to about 130 miles an hour, then take it up to 4th at about 140, and now as they barrel down the fastest portion of the circuit, 4th gear going to be good enough until you hit about 170, and it'll be 5th gear with 8,800 revs a minute before you back it down all over again. And the telemetry really tells the tale for Chase Schaefer as he puts a bumper to Thurston, and that's how close they're getting here. It's getting antsy here in Elkhart Lake, and they'll continue to fight each other for spot after spot. 11 laps to go. Daniel Mosteller and Sean Conklin are hounding one another, and they've still got the top 2 spots all to themselves. It's lonely out in front right now for your leading drivers. Right now, it's going to be the Demos Hub number 87 and the Ryko Performance number 54 holding their own 1st and 2nd. It's going to be still led by Conklin, but it's going to be Daniel Mosteller on that back bumper. Conjoined they almost are, and they'll be linked up with nobody else in sight. River Page was about as quick, but just couldn't take care of it, as it looks like now the tires are being shredded. Not much more can be done with it, and just like that, Page's number 24 drops back even further, and the Ford Mustang dropping into a lonely 3rd place as Braxton Whitaker sees trouble, will spin around, and we will take a look back. 30-second instant replay will show you the Chevy Camaro has some trouble, and we'll bring it back half a minute to find out just what happened. And you can see there, Henry Kaloff going to put the bumper to Braxton Whitaker, and it looks like he gets away initially, but from there on out, a bit more trouble indeed, taking it under the 1st Corvette bridge, and you'll see there, Whitaker going to lose it on his own, so trouble, but not going to be caused by anyone else, so no reason for a caution, as we'll bring you back to your live feed. Overall, going to be a lot of lonely drivers tonight, but Sean Conklin is far from lonely, as even though he's got the clear sky ahead of him, he's got Daniel Mosteller to worry about on the rear view mirror. nearer side. He's got a lot to think about as that 87 continues to be just as quick. Coming around this time by with only 10 laps remaining, it's going to be Sean Conklin barreling down the front straightaway with Daniel Mosteller still in tow. Demos running second, and he's only about 3/10 away from your race leader. The Ryco number 54's got the edge, but Demos is still right there, and this is the only close battle on the track. And 3 seconds back, you're going to look at the number 24 of River Page. You'll then see Chase Schaefer's about 5 seconds behind, and while James Thurston is somewhat close, not enough to really do much of anything right now, as Schaefer's continuing to put away that number 4 and make more time on the drivers ahead of him as opposed to falling back. Brandon Dugan's going to run in 6th right now on his own in the number 55. His best career finish came at Bristol, 2nd place just 2 weeks ago. And right now, Dugan's going to hold his own just outside the top 5. Nice run for him as well, but it's going to be an attrition-fueled night for anyone who's still going. Henry Kaloff is going to be currently running in 7th, and Braxton Whitaker puts himself in the 8th position right now. Michael Deitch, 4 laps down. John Smith is a total of now 18 laps down. And it looks like the remainder of the field still going either way. Troubles early have brought us to a longer green flag run, and with 10 laps to go, the single digits are upon us. Mosteller still continues to hound the number 54, and these two are incredibly close lap after lap. And I'll tell you this much, as we go round corner after corner here, you see when they get wider and wider, that's when they're really pushing the limit. But I mean, you can say that about any circuit. It's a bit more difficult here in Road America because the first section is highly technical. Then you get to the long sweeping corners and the fluidity of the second half of this track, leading all the way up to the great incline that brings you back to the start-finish line. It's a much different change of pace than not a lot of drivers often expect unless you keep yourself focused each and every time around. A 2-minute road course lap as opposed to a track like Watkins Glen, much different. The Glen takes about 1 minute and 10 seconds. Here's about 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And that difference in 1 minute added is a lot more to memorize, a lot more to understand, and got to be that much quicker each and every sector around. As Brandon Dugan's going to go into the gravel track and get things going, he's going to leave those tire tracks, and it's now with 9 laps to go. This time by, we've got ourselves a single-digit dash. 9 laps left here in FTN, and courtesy of our camera partners at TrackCams22.com, we're going to crank it up with the best cameras on the market. With over 100 car and track combinations to choose from, TrackCams22 is your one-stop shop for iRacing cameras, no matter your needs. If you're a broadcaster, you work with sim racing photography, there's no better choice than TrackCams for gourmets. Check them out tonight, TrackCams22.com or Facebook.com/TrackCams, as we will crank it up here in Elkhart Lake. And returning now with 7 laps remaining. As it stands, Sean Conklin still advantageous, and Daniel Mosteller right there with him. Top twos remain largely the same so far. Not all too much action otherwise in the remainder of the field, but these two leaders have been on each other since the very beginning, and no stopping so far for either of them, as Sean Conklin and Daniel Mosteller alike equally quick and equally competitive. They've been the fastest drivers so far by a landslide, and already 19 laps in at a 25, they've got an advantage that by this point will be almost insurmountable as they come through. This time by the driver of the number 54 is your race leader, and he keeps himself right ahead of the field this time by. The front stretch is going to be largely empty, and it looks like now Conklin, Mosteller, and River Page, but River goes down a pit road, and it looks like a pit cycle on the move with Chase Schaefer coming in as well. There's a 70% fuel limit. As a result, we've got ourselves a multitude of drivers making their way in. Just like that, pit road going to be busy again with 6 laps remaining. And we've got Chase Schaefer and River Page, the first 2 drivers, down and in. Sean Conklin, in addition, going to be coming through as well. Daniel Mosteller set to come in within the next 2 laps, and with only 6 remaining, decisions later in the going become that much more imperative to the narrative of this race and the championship, because the championship story is still unfolding as things go through lap after lap. Every lap matters more and more as the night progresses, and as the championship race continues 10 nights in, 10 weeks of racing, we've seen quite a lot unfold. Mosteller and Sean Conklin have been the classes of the field so far throughout the season. Of course, Conklin with his 4 wins, and he's hoping to make it 5 tonight. He's already got 2 when it comes to Daniel Mosteller, and while Demos has only won twice, there's still an opportunity for him to go for his 3rd win in 10 events. Either way, both of these drivers have been dominant and combined for 60% of the race victories this season. That's just 2 entries in the field, and we've seen over 15 drivers just about every night save for this one. Goes to show how consistent and how high quality these 2 drivers have been, not only in terms of IORA, but in terms of overall iRacing, because the iRatings of these guys on the ovals is where it really shines. But even still, your top 3 on the track right now are all A-class licenses in road. It's a 4.04 safety rating for Sean Conklin. He's got a 3,700 I rating and a 3,500 I rating for Demos, also in the A-class. And for James Thurston, it's an A-class as well with a 3,000 I rating. However, he is 24 seconds away from your top 2. Has not played out tonight, as it looks like now Daniel Mosteller plays into the pit strategy and makes it down a pit road this time by on his own. Just like that, Demos is going to separate himself, and Sean Conklin is now going to be your race leader, the Ryco number 54, on his own, opting to stay on the track with only 5 laps left. Just like that, the driver of the number 54 has got the race lead, and Demos going to be right there with them. Pit road not as busy as beforehand. River Page, Chase Schaefer, they went down a pit road. Braxton Whitaker made a brief stop in, but chose not to go any further, as with 5 remaining, now Conklin leads from James Thurston, and eventually Henry Kaloff set to cycle through on the 87. And now cycling by, it's the number 54, Sean Conklin, leading. He's got a big advantage right now in the remainder of the field, and it looks like Henry Kaloff not able to make it back up to Daniel Mosteller, despite the fact Demos went down a pit road. Kaloff is in the grass and continues to see trouble. Just like that, the number 63 now being chased down by Chase Schaefer and Brandon Dugan. And the troubles of this night have been for just about every driver, but more so for guys in the back half of the field. In addition, we've seen guys like Michael Deitch and John Smith retire, but Henry Kaloff is going to continue to lose places here, and he's going to get passed by Schaefer. One driver going to go way wide in Brandon Dugan, and he finds himself nearly by the fans in the stands. Just like that, Dugan's going to lose that much more time, and he's going to be far behind both Kaloff and Schaefer, putting down pressure on that number 63. Not for much longer. Just like that, Chase Schaefer going to be able to get away cleanly with a 4th place run so far. And with 5 to go, he's hoping to solidify himself just outside the podium. Daniel Mosteller is going to be 3rd. James Thurston is going to be 2nd. Sean Conklin leads by 28 seconds as it stands. However, he's set to go down a pit road for what will be about a 40-second pit stop. We'll see whether or not he's going to come through this time by that. He doesn't. And now Conklin's going to be letting loose his fastest lap, a 2:10.875. Ran just about 2 laps ago. That time through was a 2:11.346, so Conklin just about as quick, still within the pace of the all-time fastest lap in this event. Not much has been done otherwise in the remainder of the field, but some drivers are still running hot laps like it's nothing. Conklin, one of which, and he's still quick in that right cone, number 54, has the advantage, and the Dark Horse Ford Mustang leads now by nearly half a minute over James Thurston. Thurston's your runner-up man. Daniel Mosteller soon to be able to make that pass by 4th. He's going to see James Thurston come down a pit road. And then Chase Schaefer going to run to that 4th position, making his way up the incline. He's about 11 seconds away from Daniel Mosteller. And even though these drivers might be on the same portion of the track at certain moments, they're not really close to one another in the slightest. The intervals are going to tell a much more blunt story of the 8 drivers on track right now. They're all separated by 1 minute and 43 seconds. Braxton Whitaker finds himself that far down on the order as Brandon Dugan now comes down a pit road. He's going to lose about 40 seconds on this pit lane entry, and he's going to stay on pit road, get his service for the final time, and he might end up behind Braxton Whitaker when all is said and done. Sean Conklin is passing by the fans, and the excitement of the stands is unparalleled here in Wisconsin. One of these tracks where you can pack over 300,000 fans and make a hell of an atmosphere, and the drivers see it as much as they know it. They get to experience it because there's very little separating the fans from the action here at Road America, and you'll see, especially in this scan, these drivers are absolutely as close as they get, not only to the fans, but the scenery in the area here in Wisconsin. The Ryco number 54 leads the way, and he's got it there with 32 seconds to spare as James Thurston has been passed by Daniel Mosteller. Demos makes it around, and the number 87 Demos Hub Machine now is going to be the runner-up driver. 87 Machine makes the move, just like that, passes James Thurston. Now with Thurston fading back, he's set to come down a pit road regardless, and you'll see that number 4 machine 12 laps into this run. No chance he can go any further. He's going to have to come in with the next 2 laps regardless of what occurs, and you'll see he goes way wide there, just not able to stick it. The tires are getting shredded, and a lot more time is getting lost in the wind for this number 4. Conklin is going to set it now to only 3 laps to go. He keeps it out in front, 23 laps in, and is now as close as he can possibly be to holding his own for a race victory. It's unexpected if he can go all the way. Has not been just yet a certainty that he'll stay out on the track, but there's no signals yet from the Sean Conklin crew that they're coming down a pit road. No matter what happens, he's going to try to hold out hope because he knows the average pit stop time is about 35 seconds. That it looks like he would actually lose some time on Daniel Mosteller and maybe not be able to take that lead immediately. And with 3 laps to go, say you come back down for a pit road run with 2 laps to go, you've got less than 2 laps to make that charge back up to the leader. Unless you push like hell, unless you wreck the driver ahead of you by any means necessary, it'll be very, very unlikely that anything can be done for Conklin right now, save for running the race that he has and continuing to stay out in front, knowing that this could be the best opportunity at coming home with the win. Looking for number 5 on the season. He's got 32 seconds to spare. Keep that in mind. He can run just about a 2-minute, 20-second lap every time around from this point on, be about 10 seconds slower per lap, and come home with the win. That is, of course, if he has enough fuel. And he's been burning his tires up as well. Partly cloudy skies at 78 degrees Fahrenheit tonight in Elkhart Lake. However, your track temperature is coming in at a sizzling 100 Fahrenheit, and it's a much bigger disparity than most circuits here in the Americas. You see, even though there's a lot of shade, it's a concrete city, and we've seen how warm these drivers can get inside the cockpits. Tonight, they might not be feeling it inside of their sim, but their cars and their tires are certainly experiencing it as Sean Conklin bites the bullet, comes down a pit road, and makes it in. 2 laps to go. Conklin's going to make the big gamble and come through this time by, looking for a splash and go to get himself back on the way. Daniel Mosteller going to be on the move right now, knowing this is his final opportunity to get right back up in the leading battle. He's got a shot now with 2 laps to go. Conklin is in. Pit road going to be occupied by Sean Conklin, the one and only man on the track, who's now coming for a pit stop this time by. Demos is going to make some moves as we look over the camera here. It's going to be an up overhead drone shot. The 87's coming up the incline this time through, and you'll see he's alone for now, but as he comes across the stripe, he's set to beat Sean Conklin out, and it looks like he will not. Conklin gets the jump, but Demos lunges deep, and they're side by side right behind a lapper. Whitaker goes off and lets them go through as Daniel Mosteller warms up the tires and gets the race lead. Demos got the edge with 2 laps to go. Now it's going to be Mosteller advantageous. He had to lunge in. He knew that was his one and only shot, and he takes it, and it was a great pit stop from Conklin too. Faster than Mosteller's, but not enough. And now, Demos with newer tires is set to make a run for it and try to run away from his biggest competition all season long. And now it's going to play out within a matter of moments. Less than a lap and a half left this time by. They've made it 24 laps to this point, and now there's only going to be 1 complete lap ahead of us. It has been a fantastic run for both of these drivers, the 87 and the 54 respectively, but now it's going to come to a head in this final lap. Sean Conklin knows if there's any opportunity to come home with this race win, he's got to make a move very soon, and that one final run down the incline might be the moment as they're going to come through and barrel up the hill, then make that lunge into turn 1, which is how Daniel Mosteller got the race lead, and now Conklin has a chance to make that move right back. Look at how he's sailing into every corner. These stock cars are not nimble. They take a pounding, but they aren't all too elegant when it comes to moving up and down a track. So Conklin has got to make it work. It's almost like a dance the way these cars run over the track and use up every inch of room. For 2 drivers who are on the edge right now, they've got to be moving just like that. And as Daniel Mosteller has the lead, hoping to hold off his biggest championship rival, these next set of turns and the next lap ahead will be all that count in finding out who will win here in Wisconsin. Conklin bobbles. Mosteller's got the lead. 1 lap to go. This time by from Road America. The battle rages on, but now Mosteller's got the advantage. White flag waves in the background with Demos leading, and now Sean Conklin sees the competition slowly but surely getting away from him. What can Demos do to break even further? As you'll see, Conklin is still making more time. Daniel Mosteller's going to lead the way even still. He's got it going into the first set of corners, and it looks like now all he's got to do is coast it from here and keep it in the, of course, proper direction. Keeping just ahead of Conklin because Sean, with a bit of an older set of tire, is facing the troubles, and Demos now holds on with that advantage. Conklin's going to keep things moving. As a matter of fact, the problem for Sean is he's got the younger set, and it's going to be a bit of an upside-down relationship because his tires are not warmed the same way Mosteller's are. White flag is out this time by. Demos is making the charge up throughout the field. And now he's got the edge. Starting this event, he was up there in the top of the board in the championship standings, just moments away from getting that lead. And he saw a disaster strike. He's not had the best of luck in the oval races. One at Chicago, and it was Sean Conklin who got it done at Watkins Glen. So far, these 2 drivers have split the way we've ran at these road courses, and they qualified first and second here for Elkhart Lake. Daniel Mosteller, though, now as they go under the second set of bridges, has himself the race lead, and he's hoping to hold it on for the final set of turns. Down to the DRS zone, they're pulling at full throttle. It's 100% effort right now for Demos, with Conklin fading back, and they'll be making it up the incline one more time, and we'll crown ourselves a race winner. Demos coming through, gonna make it through the final set and sweep through 1 more left-hander, 1 more right-hander, and they're gonna make it around and conclude what's been 25 fantastic laps of racing. The Elkhart Lake 100 comes out of this. Conklin sends it deep. He knows this is his final shot and will get as hard as he can on the throttle, but as they come up the hill one final time, it's no use. The checkered flag will fly for Daniel Mosteller, win number 3 in the season, and he will win the Elkhart Lake 100. Tire strategy came to a head, and Demos gets it done. Daniel Mosteller is a race winner once again in the IORA Cup Series, and the victory lane suits him. It's his 3rd of the season, getting it done. On top of that, it was a fierce battle with his championship rival, and those two drivers set the stage for another fantastic performance, and they will not doubt, of course, their ability, and they do not deny us a great finish. Daniel Mosteller will win from Sean Conklin half a second behind, with Chase Schaefer 3rd, James Thurston 4th, and River Page then in 5th. Going to be Henry Kaloff, position number 6, Brandon Dugan 7th, Braxton Whitaker 8th, and Michael Deitch in 9th, with John Smith rounding out your order for tonight's event. Demo's going to take it around before the burnout begins. We'll get set up for our top 3 interviews, so we'll be right back after a brief Tango Paints promotional break and have all the aspects of the celebration and the interviews that follow in just a moment's notice. Daniel Mosteller continues to celebrate his race win here in Road America, a ceremonial cool-down lap, and then he'll burn down the house. Sean Conklin is going to be coming right there with them. Looks like both the drivers are going to be celebrating this race. And of course, great performance for the two. So it makes sense as they come around this time by to see that double celebration. Daniel Mosteller going to lead Sean Conklin around, and they'll get to the celebration for the first time tonight here in Road America. Burning down the house. It's IORA Cup Series history. The first time we've taken it to Elkhart Lake. And who else but the former 2-time champion to bring us back to IORA Cup Series madness of the road courses. A long green flag run to finish off the night. Strategy came into play big time, and at the line, Daniel Mosteller gets it done. Demos over Conklin, and that top 2 pair, we've seen it one, maybe not too many times, but we've seen it very, very often. And Demos takes charge this time around, gets it for his 3rd win of the season. Conklin, oh so close, but just barely denied in the final 2 laps. And that lunge down to the turn 1 was really the winning move of the race, and it made all the difference as Demos comes around this time by. Your drone camera set to follow as your top 2 drivers begin the celebration and make it up our hill. It's time to get the party started with Daniel Mosteller as he'll begin to burn out under the start-finish line here in Road America. And the motor will blow for Daniel Mosteller, getting it done from Road America. Demos gives it all he has and then some, and it looks like the 87 gives out in response. Demos going to get it done. We'll get your top 3 in just a moment. Stick with us here exclusively on FTN. Daniel Mosteller going to come home as a race winner tonight in Road America. The checkered flag has flown, and the 87 machine will lead our podium interview for tonight's event. We're setting up our interview system as it stands. It's Daniel Mosteller, Sean Conklin, and Chase Schaefer. That is the top three you'll be hearing from after this event, as Demos is going to park his car and take it off the track. You'll see now going to be blanked out, and we'll bring you right back to the racing feed here as the field going to escape from the circuit. We've still got 3 drivers to talk to here, and the first of which, with 7 laps led on the day, those that mattered went to Demos and the number 87, the checkered flag in hand, as Mosteller gets it done. Now, how about this one for Daniel Mosteller and the entire number 87 crew? Win number 3 on the season, and strategy went your way. That daring lunge with just 2 laps remaining. That's all you had to work with, and you did so, and then some. The 87 crew on top, and just like that, how do you feel with your 3rd win on the campaign?
I'm amazed that worked. When I saw him coming out of pit road, 2 to go, I'm racing him for the championship. I'm gonna, go for it. I mean, that was my only shot at beating him. Once that run got going, we were really equal on pace. I knew I needed clean air, so I pit a little early to get that clean air. And I guess I made up enough time on him, and we came out side by side. It's pretty awesome. It was a really good race. Yeah.
And you two put on a great show there after a few yellow flags to begin the night, and then we got ourselves that long green flag run. That's when the power you had and the speed you both had really came into play, driving away from the rest of the field with a 15-second gap to 3rd. Really nobody in your league besides Sean Conklin there. So how was it battling, knowing the weight of the situation, not only the win, but the championship as well?
I knew it was me and him, so I was honestly taking it easy at the beginning of the run because I knew we weren't going to make it on fuel, and I wanted to build a gap to the guys behind me to possibly pull off the strategy. I wanted to avoid getting stuck behind other cars when I pit. So building that gap so I came out ahead of them was crucial. And yeah, everything went to plan. It's a good way to cap off the road courses for the season.
And capping off the road courses, but of course not capping off the championship battle. You and Sean Conklin hardly separate, and we keep on fighting here. Coming out of Elkhart Lake, as you mentioned, the final road course of the season. We've still got a few more weeks to look forward to. Race 10 here at Road America. And next up, as we bring up our schedule here, still a few more races left. You're still deep in the championship consideration, but round 11 might be a bit different here, as we're going to be heading next to Homestead for what will be the 11th race of the tour, and then we'll have ourselves an off week. Miami, that's where we're up next. You think you got confidence to keep it quick?
I think Mason should just hand the trophy to Thurston for that race. I don't think I'm gonna win. That's one of my weaker tracks, but I've been able to manage and get something out of the day really every race of the season. Except for maybe 1 or 2 here and there. It's gonna be important. I know, as I said, Thurston, he's gonna be really fast there. Conklin's probably gonna be fast too. He's fast everywhere. I still feel like I'm a foot 1 step behind, but we took a big leap forward here today.
And maximizing opportunities. That's the name of the game for Daniel Mosteller, winning here as a checkered flag will fly in the Elkhart Lake 100. Anything else you'd like to add after this event?
I want to thank Mason for off-tracking and running the league, all the admins, everybody that put on raced in this. It was a really fun race. I love road courses. Sean, it was a really good battle with him, and you for broadcasting.
And there we have it. Daniel Mosteller gets it done for his 3rd win of the season, leading 7 laps and coming home on top here in Wisconsin. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, David.
And with Demos on the move, next man on the order is, of course, going to be that number 54 of Sean Conklin. He led 11 laps tonight, got in the pole position, but overall, it was a close call between he and Demos, and for one driver, there's, of course, the losing end. Sean Conklin, you come in tonight the points leader, you finished 2nd, but for all intents and purposes, I know you were fighting there to get another checkered flag. What's it like here as we conclude tonight at Road America?
Yeah, no, that stinks. Wish we could have won that, but I don't know how he undercut me. I pulled away from him before I went in, and he got the undercut and got by us on pit exit. So Yeah, I don't know. It was a fun race, so we had a lot of battling. And props to Demos. We were together the entire time, and we were battling the whole time. So this track is tough, really tough. Like it's hard to be consistent here with this car. But yeah, still confused how he got that undercut, because I thought for sure we would be farther ahead of him. But oh well.
And I'll tell you this much. You mentioned consistency and how hard it is to be good. You two made almost no mistakes. Even if you made a mistake, you came right back up to each other. That is near perfection, and that's hard to master at Road America because a lot of drivers having that trouble sliding off the track, running all the way around the circuit, and a lot of guys just couldn't keep up. You two had it figured out. What was the thought process to really get to that point and building up to have that level of pace all throughout the night?
I mean, it was just like it was mainly just getting in front, which I struggled with at the beginning. Like, I think our tires were so burnt up. Like, tire wear doesn't really matter on the road courses, but the tire heat does. And we were just got them so heated up from battling early. And when we finally got to the lead, it really didn't mean nothing. Like, if I could have gotten to the lead right away, then we would have been fine. I mean, we put it on pole, but, handicapped as always. And we had to start from the back and work our way up front. So, yeah, it was definitely all about that clean air. And unfortunately, and we did get it, but unfortunately, like I said, the tires were way too hot. We couldn't really do anything with it. We just kind of stayed there. The gap stayed the same between me and Demos, and that was kind of it till pit stops.
And clean air is king with 11 laps led on the day. Sean Conklin, your runner-up here in Wisconsin. Up next, before we head to Homestead, any final thoughts you'd like to leave us with before another night in Miami?
Next week's Homestead?
Yep, Homestead Miami Speedway for the 11th race of the tour.
Oh boy. Okay. We're not very good there. That's actually like maybe one of my, if not worst tracks. So I'm just gonna be hoping for a decent finish there. So we'll see.
And hoping to keep it solid, Sean Conklin, almost going for his 5th win in 10 races, comes home second tonight in the Elkhart Lake 100. Thank you for your time.
Yep.
I'm Sean Conklin on the move this time by Chase Schaefer, the only driver we've let to speak with, and that's your 3rd place finisher coming home in the final spot on the podium. Schaefer, you hold on for a 3rd place run tonight, and it looks like that number 99 held out well despite a lot of trouble with the strategy for many drivers. You made it work, got by Thurston in the final moments, and made the passes you needed to step back on the top 3. How do you feel after tonight's race here in Wisconsin?
I mean, I'm kind of 50-50 with this car on road courses. I don't think it, you kind of toss everything out that you learn from driving a stock car on other, from other stock cars, and it just drives completely different. And Road America, it drives like absolute dog. But I mean, it was an alright race. It kept fairly clean, and I'm surprised we got 3rd. I guess it was just we made just a little bit less mistakes than everyone else, I guess. But yeah.
And it all came down to not only those mistakes, which were a crucial part of the equation, but also that strategy. 5-lap stint for you at the end, very short compared to James Thurston, and the new tires allowed you to hunt him down quite well. So how was it taking it from further on back all the way up to getting in that podium? Knowing the difference in tire must have meant an awful lot.
Well, we actually didn't pit for tire. We just took no tires. No tires are usually faster with the next gen, which also just makes everything just 100,000 times worse. I don't get why having old rubber is faster than new rubber, but who knows? But it literally was just driving to the end. We were trying to keep pace up and less mistakes to keep up to Thurston. I didn't realize I was about 5 seconds back that he was saving fuel, so that was it was really just chill from there. I kind of hung around back for him from a second, just to I was gonna push him to the finish line if he needed me to, and then just pass him right there. But he made it fine, so we were able to go on.
And a very close call on fuel for Thurston, as you mentioned. Hard for him to make it there, but he still did, just a few seconds behind you. Now, Chase, next up on the schedule, Homestead Miami Speedway, and we've seen pace from you there before. What's going to take to maybe bring it back and go for a second win on the campaign?
We're gonna have to see. Just trying to figure out the balance of saving that right rear, but not also being too slow. And just strategy. I don't know if it's gonna come down to fuel. If it is, then we'll have to be ready for that. But yeah, excited.
And balance is key. Chase Schaefer, you round out the podium tonight. 26 laps on the day. You came home after the end of the 25th. That's, of course, where it scores you. Third place. And although no laps led, consistency is key. Anything else you'd like to leave us with after a hard-fought night here at Road America?
Nope. Just follow Monster Designs _ on Twitter. That's all I got.
And there we have it. Chase Schaefer concludes our podium discussion with a third-place finish here in the Elkhart Lake 100. Thank you for your time.
Yep, no problem.
But Chase Schaefer on the move. That's going to be your final driver on the podium tonight. And Chase Schaefer's going to come home third with Sean Conklin second. And Daniel Mosteller just barely will come home the winner here in Road America. A thrilling night of action that comes down to the wire between two of the best in the business. And your top two in points are your top two at the end of this event. Tell you this much, we'll be back in about a half hour's time with the Highline Racing League at the Phoenix Raceway. They'll be racing in the Racing Warehouse 125. We'd love to have you there as 9:35 Eastern. We'll be back on the roll here on FTN. I've been David Kreutz, commentating and producing all tonight's action here in Road America, and we'll take you down to Avondale, Arizona very soon. But if you're not joining us, we thank you all for your support in tonight's event. We hope to have you all whenever we're live with the IORA Cup Series next Thursday night. We will return, and Homestead Miami Speedway, the place to be for race 11 of Season 4. For those who will continue to watch us throughout the remainder of the night, we thank y'all once again for watching the Elkhart Lake 100. And if you enjoyed tonight's presentation, be sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated, and we hope you all have a fantastic night.